Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. You good? A clarification meeting was held prior to this meeting at 6 p.m. This evening's agenda items are agenda items 1, which is roll call, agenda item 2, which is the previous minutes, agenda item 3, a contract rezone, and agenda item 4, a preliminary plat. So if we could start this out with agenda item 1. Aislinn, could you do roll call, please?
Jill Kirkham. Here. Jack Moore.
Hi, I'm Jack Moore, and I live in the Old Town District, and I did a site visit to agenda item 3 and agenda item 4, and I have nothing else to report.
Dorothy Ricks.
Hi, my name is Dorothy Ricks. I did a site visit to agenda item 2, or excuse me, agenda item 2 and 3, and I have nothing else to report.
Shankia Rue.
My name is Shankia Rue. I live in the Highland area. I did a site visit to agenda item number 4. I have nothing else to report.
Kaylee White.
My name is Kaylee White. I made a site visit to agenda item 3 and agenda item 4, and I have nothing further to report. With roll call being taken, we can move on to agenda item 2, which is approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I second the motion.
Okay, thank you. And then with that,
A motion.
oh, sorry. Can I call for a vote, please?
Moore.
Yes.
Rue.
Yes.
Kirkham.
Yes.
Ricks.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And with that, I'd like to move to agenda item 3, our contract rezone at 1399 Bench Road. Lockwood Development Partners LLC in partnership with HSD Hotels LLC, represented by Racine Olson Law Firm, has submitted an application to rezone by contract the property located at 1399 Bench Road from commercial general to residential commercial professional. And I would like to open this agenda item for public hearing. And if I could have a presentation from the applicant, please.
You bet. Thank you for having me. My name is TJ Budge. I'm an attorney locally here at Racine Olson. And I'm here today on behalf of Lockwood Development Partners. Lockwood is entered into a joint venture with the owner of the Clarion Inn. The owner is HSB Hotels, and they've entered into a joint venture to redevelop the hotel into a different type of property use. The application here is for a contract zone agreement. It's a little bit different than a traditional rezone. It's essentially a conditional rezone of the property, and I'll explain today why we're pursuing that. Most of you are familiar with the Clarion Inn property. I'm going to take a minute to talk about the requirements of the city code and why we think this project is permissible within the code and appropriate use of the property. I'm going to speak for about 5 minutes, and then I've got one of my clients on the phone. His name is Dan McNulty. He's going to talk in more detail about the project and be available to answer specific questions about what they're doing if you have them. We also have on the phone the architect. If there are questions for him, he's available to answer those, although we're not anticipating that at this time. So a contract zone agreement, like I mentioned, is essentially a conditional rezone of the property. The property's not rezoned permanently. It's rezoned for a specific use. So it's a one-time rezone, and if this specific use of the property comes to an end, then the property reverts to its original zoning classification. I've got a photo up on the board of the Clarion Inn. Many of you are familiar with it. It's been here in Pocatello for many years. It's had various owners over the years. And as many of you know, the hospitality industry has taken a big hit with COVID, and some of these older hotels especially have been challenged in their ability to stay afloat. And this hotel is now in a position where it needs to be utilized in some other fashion or will likely become vacant. And my client, Lockwood Development Partners, has entered into a joint venture with the hotel owner to put it to good use. The hotel currently is just a traditional hotel. It does have some banquet rooms and dining facilities. The project will create a multi-use development of the hotel. The hotel rooms that are there now will be converted into apartment buildings. Those will either be studio or one-bedroom apartment buildings, so there will be a remodel on the inside of the hotel. There will also be, on the interior of the hotel, an adult daycare. That's a facility where elderly members of our community can be taken during the day and have supervision. It's for people who don't need assisted living, but that benefit from some type of care. It really helps families who are taking care of loved ones. It provides a way for them to allow their loved ones to have some supervision while the caretakers are doing other things. It also provides a social outlet for people who are in that stage of life. The third use of the property is a veterans education facility. The apartment units here will be age restricted. They'll be for seniors 55 and up, also income restricted. It will provide affordable housing to that group, and it will be targeted towards veterans. The veterans education component of the project is targeted towards younger veterans, and it utilizes GI Bill programming to provide training and prepare veterans to re-enter the workforce and have success in that way. I've put up on the screen just a copy of the letter from the property owner authorizing Lockwood Development Partners and me to sign this application on their behalf. I've also got on the board a copy or an excerpt from the city code that talks about contract zoning agreements. I've just underlined some key components. As I mentioned before, they're for specific projects. And then I've got on the screen a site plan that shows the different components of the hotel as it's redeveloped. You can see the main T component of the hotel, where the hotel rooms are today. That'll be turned into residential apartments. That central area will be the adult daycare, and then the front part of the hotel, where we currently have banquet rooms, will be used for a veterans education center. This is a copy of the zoning map. It's a little bit hard to tell, but the property is currently zoned in general commercial. You can see some darker pink zones nearby. Those are residential commercial professional. That's a mixed use zone, RCP. One purpose of our contract zone amendment is to rezone it to the RCP zone. The reason that's necessary is in the general commercial zone, apartments are only allowed on upper stories. We're going to have ground level apartments. In the RCP zone, apartments are allowed on ground level as well as upper stories. The other reason that we're doing a contract zone agreement is because it's a multi-use project. It doesn't, squarely fit in a particular category because it's got the adult daycare, the housing, plus the veterans education. The RCP zone is a mixed-use zone, and so it's well suited for this type of project. I've only got a little bit of time left, and I just want to point out that this project is also consistent with some important goals of our comprehensive plan. We have housing goals to develop in a wide variety of high-quality housing that are safe, sanitary, attractive, and affordable, and also to provide affordable housing. This is especially true of senior members of our community. They need housing that is low maintenance, that's well cared for and attractive, and that's affordable, and this project will do that. If you look through our comprehensive plan, when it was last updated, our city had gone through a 5-year period with no new housing of this type developed, and so there's a real need in our community for it. Lastly, there's some comprehensive plan policies about having living areas that are mixed use, that are within walking distance of commercial establishments, and this project will support those policies as well. So with that, we've just got about 4 minutes left. I'm going to turn those over to Dan McNulty. And Dan will give you a little more detail about their company and what they do. This is something that they do in other parts of the country.
Hi, Dan. This is Matthew.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can go ahead and add anything you like.
Okay. Establishments, and this project will support those.
There's a delay.
As well. So with that, we just got 4 minutes left. I'm going to turn those over to Dan McNulty, and Dan will give you a little more detail about their company and what they do. This is something that they do in other parts of the country.
I can't hear it very well.
It was a delay.
Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Yes.
There's a slide deck. I don't know if TJ has that and can put that up for everybody.
About a 3-second lag.
Okay. I'm going to turn down my monitor here, but as we go through our slide deck, he'll leave you a copy with. It talks a lot about who we are and why we're in this mission-based business and our plans for the facility. First of all, I got to say we're very excited about this project. In the time that everybody's going through right now with the pandemic, what it's done to the hospitality industry, it's really decimated the hotels and restaurant business, and a lot of people left jobless and in dire straits. Our business plan is something that we're very, very excited about, and we're very excited to be doing something great in Pocatello. So I'll just kind of say next slide, we can flip through this, but our mission is about independent housing, and we've got healthcare and social support programs are kind of the main components that TJ touched on. And next slide will go to kind of who we are. We've got ex-Brigadier General Lori Sutton on our part of our company. We've got a great advisory board. We've got an accomplished development team. So I know we're limited on time, so we'll just if you could advance the slides, I'll keep moving. You guys can hear me okay? I just turned down the monitor. So.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So you see our mission and objectives, and if you could advance the next slide, we'll keep going, or I'll just. This is a little bit of the management team. As I mentioned, Brigadier General Lori Sutton, very accomplished. Merle Griff knows the adult daycare model very well. Advanced degrees with all these folks, a lot of military background. David Webb, known nationally, working with vets. Captain Kevin Wensing, same. The development team, Charles Everhart and Eddie Dobner, great background, great expertise, and you'll feel comfortable with our execution here. And we go to the next slide. There's the three components that were touched on: affordable housing. We don't need to cover this again, but there's various healthcare, home care services, and we're really addressing the needs for the servicemen and now the veterans, the part of the community that many communities that's been overlooked. And through our model, we're able to address a couple key things, and that's shelter, but also gainful, viable employment that helps these folks out. I might add, bringing jobs to the area, jobs that have been lost in the hospitality industry, in restaurant industry as well, is just decimated many communities, not just the industry itself. So next slide, we'll keep going here. I think we're about 3 minutes. So affordable housing, we talked about that value proposition. There's, we're actually purchasing hospitals as well, and there's some extra components in there that work with this model. The hotel product lines are usually DoubleTrees, Crown Plazas, Clarion, Sheratons. This is, interesting. We've got new programs in each and every one of these folks providing vocational opportunity in the med and health tech clinical space of nursing and med techs, lab techs, you name it. Placement side of it, we're there to help them at the other end of the education process with placement with large corporations and healthcare institutions across the nation. We can keep moving there. Covered that, the education, training, job placement, very critical, important. And I know we're running against the clock, so I'll keep moving. Yeah, there's about 800,000 unfilled jobs in the med healthcare clinical space right now, and we're filling a void for that, and doing something great for the Veterans Life Science Institute is also something that's going to be great for everybody involved here. So you've got a great site there that we want to make sure it doesn't. Like a lot of these hotel sites that are in trouble, they might sit there for years and looking for a buyer, and would add sometimes a negative element or a blight to a key area there. That's our intent is to revive that. It's all about jobs for the community. It's all about providing economic viability and tax revenues, and addressing the workforce out there, whether it's service members that are now vets or your local job seekers in Pocatello. Anyway, I think I'm over time here, but sorry to whip through a 28-slide deck as quick as I did, but you'll have a copy of that to go through, and we welcome any questions or ideas from you folks. Yeah, I'm sorry. So the last part is the appendix, and these are exemplary of the various projects that we're doing, and it outlines the different programs that are offered in those projects. So we're excited about it. These last three slides, talks about the hotel industry, hospitality, what's happened since March, and it's really incredible. If you look at other downturns in the economy, what's happened here? These hotels are at 30% or less capacity. They just can't make it. Some of the studies out there would indicate that, 1/4 of the hotels are either in default or foreclosure status, and that just has a rebounding and resonant effect on those communities where those jobs are lost. And our model addresses that. We bring the jobs back and we revitalize those properties and get people, into a good state where they're feeling good about what they've done for the country, but also for the community. I think that's all the slides. I got a good view now. So, any questions or?
Any questions from the commission?
I have a question.
It's hard to hear. I'm going to turn up the volume on my monitor.
You guys are going to have to talk up so he can hear you over here.
Okay. I have a question, please. I think that repurposing this building is a fabulous thing, and I commend you for it. The concern I have is that it appears to me that the residents will be able to enter from exterior doors and have space in front of their homes, their little apartments, whether they be studio or one bedroom. And I'm concerned that there could be a couch in front of it or some sort of visible pollution that might detract from the integrity of the building. Can you address that, please?
Sure. I mean, we have in our leases, and we have certain covenants of what you can and cannot do as a resident. And absolutely, we're going to, we're all about the image of what's going on. We're all about security. The last thing we want is this to become, I know what you're talking about. I've seen places like that they just don't have control of what's going on. So this is not what we call a motel that is passed on to a absentee or an owner that doesn't care. We're there every day, 24/7 with management team, with our other programs, And, again, you're concerned about what it looks like from the outside or what goes on. We have definitely certain covenants that will not be violated. So the curbside appeal is something we're very concerned about. We've got lease up that we have to do, and we have an image that we have to uphold. So you'll see that by some of our other properties.
Thank you very
I
much.
hope that answered it.
Thank you.
And I apologize. There is a delay on the live streaming. That's why I heard myself talking as we were finishing up there. I turned it up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you foresee an on-site property manager at this residence? And then also, what is affordable? Like, what is your price range for these apartments?
Okay, I think I heard the first part of the question. On-site manager, absolutely. And then the second question, I could make that out.
What would be your rents for the studios and your rents for the one-bedroom apartments?
There's a formula that's based on right now. I don't know if we're at that point to share that, but it's a below market competitive rent, call it that. It's kind of in the package that we're working with our various funding sources. But it's what they call affordable housing. So it fits a spectrum that truly affordable. I can get you details on that, what the numbers are.
So would that be affordable housing comparative to like a HUD program affordable housing?
I'm sorry? Is it affordable housing like a HUD program?
Yes.
It runs at about 60% of kind of your average market rent, come in at that. To give you a peg number.
Any other questions?
I have one. How many veterans around the area do you think you'll be attracting? Is there a large
You're gonna have to
population?
speak a
You're gonna
lot
have to
louder.
talk louder for him to hear in this little microphone.
Or come up
Do you want to come
to
up
it.
to him?
Hold on just one moment.
Sure, I think I can hear.
I was just wondering, how many veterans around the area do you think you'll be attracting to this facility? What is the need in the area for this facility?
There's a need in the area. I mean, we've done studies on that, and it'd be shocking for all of us if you knew the numbers of how many are discharged. There's about 20,000 per month that are being discharged, and they're ready for the next stage of their life, finding employment, finding shelter, or whatever. In addition to that, there's several million of the 55 and over veterans that are out there that are qualified for our housing program. So we've done studies, and that's it's been addressed. That's why we're very excited about Pocatello.
No further questions from the commission. Do I have staff come forward?
Do I mute him?
We'll be behind the deck, so you can spend more time studying each slide.
Good evening, ma'am. Vice Chair, Commission members, Matthew Lewis, Senior Planner with the City. As noted in the applicant's presentation, Lockwood Development Partners LLC, in partnership with HSB Hotels LLC, property owner, is proposing a contract rezone of the Clarion Inn Property is addressed as 1399 Bench Road from commercial general to residential commercial professional to allow the property to be redeveloped into a multi-use complex consisting of age-restricted 55-year-old or greater housing, a veterans education center, and adult care, daycare. The proposed zone change does not require concurrent amendment to the comprehensive plan land use map, as the application is for rezone by contract. Under the current commercial general zoning designation, residential uses are permitted outright in upper stories, provided that the ground floor commercial use is also provided on the property. The proposal as submitted includes elements which do not neatly fall within the use defined by Pocatello Municipal Code, including multifamily dwelling units, household living, group living unsupervised, and group living supervised. For this reason, rezoning by contract is being requested, in addition to the fact that the commercial uses will not be provided on the ground floor. The proposed use is exclusive to housing veterans 55 and older, which distinguishes it from a typical multifamily apartment use. According to the applicant's representative, veterans not living on premise may use services provided with the adult daycare and education center. The applicant is proposing to renovate 149,000 square feet of the existing hotel into ground floor and upper story residential apartments for veterans 55 and older. Proposal calls for providing 83 one-bedroom units and 42 studios for a total of 125 apartment units. The renovation also includes a proposed 41,426 square foot area for adult daycare. Information is provided in packets regarding adult activities and programs. A Veterans Education Center will also be provided on site. Information for that program is also in your packets and was briefly presented by the applicant. The subject property is developed as an existing two-story hotel building with 285 off-street parking spaces. The structure was originally constructed in the 1970s. There are numerous restaurants and convenience stores within walking distance, as well as a PRT bus stop. Access to the property is provided off Bench Road, a local road, via Pocatello Creek Road, the principal arterial, and Lumpus Drive, a minor arterial. Staff does not anticipate that additional traffic will be generated beyond what is associated with the existing hotel. All property owners within a 300-foot radius of the land to be rezoned have been provided notice of the public hearing in order that they may provide comment on the proposed contract zoning. Notice was also published in Idaho State Journal, and 2 signs were posted on the subject property. At the time of the completion of this staff presentation, 3 phone calls were received with no written comments submitted. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Noted that there was not any additional correspondence received.
There was not.
I'd like to move forward with the public hearing with testimony by those supporting the application. Those uncommitted on the application? Those opposed to the application? Okay. Can leave this time for rebuttal by the applicant. If any.
Well, not much to rebut, which is nice. I guess I would thank you for your time, and Matt, appreciate your staff report. I do think it's a great use of the property, and my experience so far with the developers has been outstanding. So they're very on the ball and engaged and professional, and I think it's going to be a good fit for the community.
declare the public hearing closed. At this time, can I open up to discussion or just entertain a motion?
Either one.
Open up to discussion amongst commissioners about the applicant?
Well, one thing that I'd really like to see them do is rehabilitate the lawn. It was awfully brown.
The lawn?
Yeah. The lawn looks horrible.
Okay. Any other concerns? Okay. No further discussion. I entertain a motion.
I'd like to entertain a motion to recommend approval of the application from Lockwood Development Partners in partnership with HSB Hotels to rezone the property located in 1399 Bench Road to be rezoned residential, commercial, or professional by contract, finding the application does meet the standards for approval under Chapter 17.02.180 of Pocatello Municipal Code if the following conditions are met, that is listed by the staff, and they are: first, the property in question shall be zoned as residential, commercial, professional. The applicant, the applicant should enter into an agreement with the city subject to City Code 17.02.180.J.5. Third, the current building be brought into compliance with the current building code requirements. 4, the use as proposed shall be established within 2 years from the date of the county recordation date. After this date, the contract rezoning will become null and void and the original commercial general zoning designation shall apply. 5, install sidewalk, curb, and gutter to meet engineering requirements at the time of building permit. 6, install trash disposal location and style upon review and approval by City Sanitation Department and Engineering, and obtain the necessary right-of-way approachment permit prior to building permit submittal. 7, any standards and regulations not herein noted but applicable to the proposed development shall be strictly adhered to. And 8, any activity requiring a separate development or building permit shall comply with applicable regulations.
I will second the motion.
Call for a vote.
Brew,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Kirkham,
Yes.
Ricks,
Yes.
White,
No.
motion carries.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
Thank you, TJ.
Good.
At this time, I would like to move on to agenda item 4 to discuss the preliminary plat, Grant Street Landing, Megan Marketing LLC and JAR Investments LLC, represented by RMES, have submitted a preliminary plat application to subdivide approximately 9.21 acres of land into 7 residential lots. The proposed subdivision is located northwest of Hawkweed Drive and west of the Bannock Highway. I have the applicant come forward.
You can do it right there.
Okay. Good evening, commission members. My name is Brady Smith with Rocky Mountain Engineering and Surveying, 600 East Oak Street, Pocatello, Idaho. Here tonight representing the applicant on this project. As mentioned, we're here tonight to subdivide approximately 9.21 acres into 7 residential lots. It's intended to be single-family residential homes. We do anticipate improving the frontage of Grant Street along all of the properties. I know there was mention of extending a portion of Lot 7 all the way to the end, and we're okay with that. I think initially our direction was to try to get it past the last home, and we understand that requirement. So we will plan on having curb and gutter and sidewalk along that entire frontage. We feel like this is a pretty straightforward project in that it's most of the land that's being developed is pretty suitable for a single-family home. There are some terrain issues further back in the property which we've identified on a slope analysis that's provided in your packet. And of that, we will be able to still make sure that we can fit homes on those lots and still preserve that slope as intended. So our lot sizes, I think, are well above the minimum for this zoning area. So we feel like we're compliant that way. We also feel that this meets the goals of the comprehensive plan, and that it is set, or it's been designated as a residential area as well. And we have looked through the conditions set forth in the memorandum and by city staff, and we are okay with those conditions. And so with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions for the applicant? Carl?
Good evening, Madam Vice Chair and members of the Commission. My name is Carl Anderson, and I'm a Senior Planner at the City of Pocatello Planning Department, for the record. You have before you for consideration a proposed preliminary plat for the Grant Street Sliding Subdivision. This request was submitted by Mega Marketing LLC and JAR Investments LLC. The engineer on the application is Rocky Mountain Engineering and Surveying. This proposed subdivision is located along Grant Avenue, northwest of Hawkweed Street and west of Bandit Highway. The proposal calls for a plating of 9.22 acres, more or less, into 7 lots, and primarily zoned residential estate, with a small portion to the south and east zoned residential medium density single family. The residential estate zoning district requires a minimum lot size of 12,500 square feet per single family home, and the smallest buildable lot is 15,570 square feet. As portions of the subdivision have slope exceeding 15%, a slope analysis has been provided and included for review. Of the 9.22 acres, 4.98 acres shall remain undisturbed and identified on the final plat with a no-build designation. The slope analysis you have before you provides that preliminary no-build line as well. Staff has reviewed this application and finds the Grant Street Landing subdivision is compliant with city code requirements of 16.20.050, assuming conditions with the conditions recommended by staff. With that, that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that the Commission may have.
Any questions for Carl?
I have a question. So I guess that area is quite sloped, and you did a slope analysis. So I guess necessary caution has been made with regards to preserving that slope for any concerns, right?
No, and so that's part of the process of going through that exercise is to review that in consideration with our slope standards.
Yes.
There are multiple considerations for that. So, for example, all building permits on each one of those homes will need a geotechnical assessment to be submitted with each building permit application. It also has provisions for the retention of natural vegetation along those ways, and all that area to be left undisturbed, as identified in that analysis, is based on the percentages of slope. And what this essentially will do is maintain that area as outlined by code to be exempt from things like grading, vegetative removal, things like that. So we'll preserve that slope and space above the homes that you see on your center.
So all those recommendations have been included in your staff recommendations. Okay. Thank you.
I believe so. I may not understand your question, but I believe so.
No further questions? Do I have a motion?
I would like to make the motion to recommend approval of the preliminary plat application from Mega Marketing LLC and JR Investments LLC for the Grant Street Landing Subdivision, finding the application does meet the standards for approval under Chapter 16.20.050 of Pocatello Municipal Code, finding that As long as the staff recommendations are met, and they are 4. And the first is all comments containing the Public Works Memorandum dated October 5th, 2020 should be adhered to. 2, a building permit may not be issued unless all applicable standards of the City Code Section 16.24.100 are adhered to, or a subdivision surety bond and warranty bond is obtained as outlined in City Code 16.24.110 prior to recording. 3, the area to remain undisturbed shall be shown on the final plat and delineated with a no-build line. The boundaries are shown on the plat should be surveyed and staked prior to beginning of construction. All other standards of City Code 17.05.140 should apply. And lastly, all other standards or conditions of municipal code not herein stated but applicable to land subdivision and residential development should apply.
Second.
Eastland, can we have a vote?
Rue,
Yes.
Kirkham,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Ricks,
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Motion carries.
That concludes tonight's meeting. Thank you for attending.